and welcome to our weekly Bible lesson for families. I hope you're all together. If you're not, go get anybody that's missing, get a snack, get a drink, and come on back and we will get started. There's a pause time for you to go grab that stuff. Hello again, and welcome to our lesson where you can learn the Bible story together and talk about how that has anything to do with your family. I'm going to give you a question that you guys can talk about while you're having your snack to have a little chit-chat. And here's your question for today. Think about a time that you had to do a really hard job or assignment. What was the job and how did you handle getting it done? Okay, talk about that. I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back, and just to have a little fire pit going this morning, it might be a clue as to what our story is going to be about. You might know something that has to do with Moses and a fire. So let's see if you can get that story right. Just a quick review where we left off last week. Moses had run away to Midian, where he had decided to help the seven sisters and ended up marrying one of those. So we're going to pick up the story today. I'm not going to read it from the Bible because it's like 2 chapters long and that would take us our whole time. So instead I'm just going to tell you the story today from the Bible and promise you that it's the truth. If you want to look it up, you can look it up. It's in Exodus chapter 2, starts at verse 23, and then it goes all the way through chapter 4. So there's a lot of information there for you and your family to pull it up and look at. I might be sitting in the wrong spot. The wind just shifted. All right, so let's see. So on this day, Moses is out in the wilderness. He's taking care of his father-in-law's flocks. He has gone from being the prince of Egypt to a shepherd in the wilderness. Well, that burned out pretty fast. And so he sees that there's a fire, and so he goes over to investigate the fire. And when he gets there, he sees that it's a bush and it is on fire, but the bush is not burning up. Like, you can see the wood in my fire. It's turning black. By the time it goes out, it'll be just a pile of ashes. But with this fire, the bush was on fire, but it was staying green and healthy. And Moses was like, whoa, what is happening here? This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this. And then he heard a voice that said, Moses, Moses, coming out of the fire. And he said, well, here I am. And then he heard these words, don't come any closer. You take off your shoes because you are on holy ground. This is the Lord your God speaking to you. Moses hit his face, fell down, and was so afraid. So we're going to take a pause there where Moses is hiding his face in fear, because I want you guys to talk about some things. First, I want you to tell your family about a time when you were really scared and you maybe even ran and hid or wanted to hide yourself from whatever it was. And then I also want you guys to talk about why you think Moses is so afraid of God speaking to him. Okay, so here's your pause for that. Welcome back. And let's go on with our story. So as the bush continued to burn and Moses and God continued to talk to each other, God told Moses how he had been hearing the many, many, many prayers that the Israelites were praying to him while they were in Egypt, because the Egyptians were using them as slaves and treating them very badly, as we heard last week. So God was hearing all their prayers, and he decided that he was going to use Moses to answer those prayers. And he told Moses, I've decided I'm sending you back to Egypt And you're going to save your people, the Israelites. You're going to bring them out of Egypt, and you're going to take them to a land that I have set aside just for them. It's good land. And God even said it's full of milk and honey, because it's just such a productive land, and there's everything there that they need. Wow. Can you imagine if God came and told you you had a job that big, that important, to take a whole group of people and save them from slavery and take them to this land that God had promised them and planned for them, and that it was a good place? That's exciting news. But we read on in the Bible, and Moses said, what makes you think that they'll listen to me? The Egyptians aren't going to listen to me. The Israelites might not listen to me. I don't think I can do this job. I think you better find somebody else. So that was Moses' reaction. So I want to take a pause before we hear some more of the story for you guys to talk about this. Moses had failed before in trying to help the Israelites, and he made that really bad choice. And now he's being asked by God to help the Israelites again, and I think that maybe he's afraid that he'll fail again, and maybe that's why he's saying no. So I want you guys to talk about a time that you failed, and tell your family, this is when I failed. I tried something and it did not work out for me. And then I also want you to talk about after you failed at that, were you ever willing to try it again, or did you just give up on that forever? All right, here's your pause to talk about those. Here we are back at the fire, and I want to let you know that God did not take Moses' answer of no, I'm not the right person for the job very well. Instead, he showed Moses, he said, I will prove to the people that I am with you. And I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can show the people my power so they believe you and they know that you're really saying what I'm telling you to say. And so these were the 3 things. He could take his shepherd's staff that he used with the flocks. If he threw it on the ground, it would turn into a snake. And then he could grab it by the tail and pick it up, and it would turn back into the staff. So that was one way that he could show the people, God is with me. The second way God gave him was he could take his hand and put it inside of his coat so that they couldn't see his hand, and then pull it out. And when he pulled it out, it was all full of leprosy. It was all diseased. And then he put it back in the coat, and when he pulled it out, it was healed. So that was the second thing he could do to prove God was with him. And the third thing he could do was that he could dip some water out of the Nile River, which is where they were living. They would be there. Dip some water out, pour it out, and as it hit the ground, it would turn from water to blood. So God was like, the people have to trust you now. You can show them these things that prove that I am with you. I am the one that is telling you what to do. So you would think Moses would be excited, right? But instead Moses said, you know what, God? I don't talk very well. I have a tendency to stutter, and I don't think anybody would be able to understand what I'm even saying to them. I think you need to go pick somebody else. So we're going to have a second pause. And in this pause, Moses is trying to tell God that he's not good enough for this job. And I'm sure that there's going to be times in your life, or there already has been times in your life, where you were asked to do something that you felt maybe that you couldn't do, you weren't good enough to do. So right now during this pause, I want you to tell about a time when you didn't think you were good enough to do something. Or if that hasn't happened to you, tell your family what is something that you just don't think you're good at. Right? So talk about those things and then come back and we will finish up this story about Moses and the fire, which is turning to ash. See you in a minute. Okay, so we're back, with mainly smoke now in my fire pit. After Moses said, I don't speak well, I don't think I'm the right guy for the job, God reminded Moses, I made you. I made that mouth. I made your ability to speak, and I've chosen you for this job. But if you don't feel confident enough, I will provide you a helper. Your brother Aaron, who is one of the Israelites who's working in Egypt as a slave, he will do the talking for you. So I will tell you, I will give you the words to say, and Aaron will say them for you. And Moses said, all right then. And he got his wife and his son, and off they went, heading back to Egypt with his staff in his hand, so he could prove to the Egyptians and the Israelites that God was with him. So I have one more set of pause questions for you before we finish. And these are the questions that I have. Did God promise Moses that this was going to be an easy job? And then again, the next question is, did God promise Moses that he would be with him during this job? And then I want you guys to think about yourselves. Do you think that everything God has planned for you will be easy? And do you think when God asks you to do something hard or easy, that he is with you when you're doing what he asks you to do? So talk about those two things and then come back for a prayer. I need the wind to change. Welcome back. What a great lesson today about Moses and how God let him know that even though he messed up, he trusted him to do this really important job for him and that he would be with him as he did it. So let's have a prayer to end our time together. Bow your heads, hold your hands. Dear Lord, thank you for the story of Moses and how he didn't think he could do the hard job that you had for him. Help us remember this story when we mess up and when we have to try again. Or when we do something that's very hard and we feel like we're all on our shoulders to get it done ourselves. We know you're with us, but sometimes we just forget to ask for your help. Help us remember this story so we can remember to ask your help. We love you and we thank you for Jesus. And it's in his name that we pray. Amen. Okay, so I'm going to get out of the smokes now, and I will see you all next week. Have a good one. Mwah!